Some people stay calm in chaos in a way that almost looks unreal, as if panic skipped over them and chose everyone else. Bad news arrives, voices rise, plans collapse, and their face barely changes, but inside their system is already working hard. People often mistake that stillness for coldness, arrogance, or a lack of feeling, because quiet pain rarely explains itself. But many times, the truth is the opposite. The person feels a lot and learned to contain it before it spilled everywhere. Their calm is not emptiness. It is armor built from memories the body never fully forgot, polished by years of surviving. When someone has gone through too much, the mind stops asking only "what do I feel?" and starts managing what might happen next. It starts asking, what is safe, what is risky, and what could change suddenly if I stop paying attention for 1 second. That shift can create traits that look strange from outside, but make complete sense from inside the nervous system that built them. This is not a diagnosis, and it is not a rule for every person, because human pain never follows one simple template. It is a compassionate lens for behaviors that are often judged before they are understood, especially when strength looks like distance. The first trait is empathy, but not the cheerful greeting card kind. It is sharper, quieter, and much more observant. It is a radar for pain, tuned by having once needed someone to notice and remembering how lonely silence can feel. They catch tiny changes, a voice getting flatter, a smile arriving half a second late, or energy dropping behind polite words. They notice the person laughing with everyone while quietly disappearing from themselves, because they have worn that same performance before. This sensitivity can be beautiful because it makes them deeply attentive to invisible hurt, even when nobody names the hurt out loud. But it can also be heavy, because they absorb emotional weather that was never theirs and carry it after the room is gone. The second trait is becoming the peacekeeper before anyone asks them to help, almost like tension pulls them forward automatically. In tense rooms, they feel pressure before the argument fully becomes visible, because their body recognizes the first signs of escalation. They soften their tone, change the subject, smooth the mood, or become useful fast, hoping the atmosphere will not turn dangerous. This can be a form of fawning, a survival response that tries to stay safe by pleasing, calming, or becoming easy to accept. At some point, their body learned that conflict meant danger, and calm people were safer than angry people, unpredictable people, or disappointed people. So they become the person holding the umbrella while quietly getting soaked, protecting the room while forgetting they are also in it. They ask if everyone else is okay, then answer fine when someone finally asks them, because need can feel risky to reveal. The third trait is hypervigilance, the alarm system that refuses to clock out even when the present moment is technically safe. In restaurants, they may choose the seat where their back feels protected, because the body relaxes more when it can see movement. In new places, their eyes scan exits, noises, faces, and sudden movement before their conscious mind has even formed a thought. A slammed door or raised voice can pull the body into danger before logic catches up, because alarms are faster than explanations. This does not mean they are dramatic. It means the alarm learned from real storms, and learned that calm can disappear quickly. The fourth trait is trust that grows slowly, like a bridge built one stone at a time over a gap they remember falling through. They may be loyal and kind, yet still keep a locked room inside themselves, where the most fragile memories are stored. If the safest people once caused pain, closeness can feel both wanted and dangerous, like warmth standing beside a warning light. So trust becomes evidence, not a promise. Repetition matters more than beautiful words, and small actions speak louder than emotional speeches. Every kept promise places another small plank over the gap, and every gentle repair teaches the body that connection might hold. Every sudden betrayal can make the whole structure shake again, because old fear does not ask whether this person is different. The fifth trait is overthinking, not as a hobby, but as an emergency planning room that tries to predict every possible impact. They replay conversations, analyze silence, and prepare for outcomes that may never happen, hoping preparation can soften surprise. The brain believes that if it predicts pain early, pain will hurt less later, so it keeps rehearsing imaginary disasters. Sometimes that works. Often it only turns the mind into a treadmill with no destination, exhausting the person without changing reality. The sixth trait is craving stability with an intensity other people may not understand, because predictability feels like oxygen after chaos. After enough chaos, a predictable morning can feel more luxurious than excitement, because nothing breaking is its own kind of gift. Same route, same coffee, same quiet hour. Repetition becomes a nervous system lullaby, telling the body that today has edges. What looks boring from outside may feel like paradise to a body that survived uncertainty, and now treasures ordinary peace. The seventh trait is needing time alone, not because they hate people, but because solitude is where their system finally powers down. Social life can mean reading tones, managing tension, and carrying invisible information all day, even during conversations that seem casual. Alone, the mask can come off, the shoulders can drop, and the body can exhale without performing strength for anyone. Solitude is not always loneliness. For some people, it is the first safe room they ever owned inside their own life. The eighth trait is extreme independence, the proud armor of someone who learned not to depend when depending once became painful. They fix things alone, go through hard days alone, and say they can handle it, even when help would actually matter. Underneath that strength may be an old memory of help arriving late, arriving with judgment, or arriving with strings attached. Self-reliance saved them, but the same armor can become a small, lonely cage that keeps comfort out with danger. Healing does not always mean becoming less strong. Sometimes it means letting strength include receiving, leaning, and being met halfway. The ninth trait is silent sadness, the kind that hides behind functioning and rarely interrupts the schedule of daily life. They may work, laugh, answer messages, and look perfectly normal from the outside because functioning can become another survival skill. But when their attention drifts, you may see the tired distance of someone who has walked far and keeps walking anyway. This sadness is not always loud. Sometimes it is a low hum under every bright moment, a private weather beneath the smile. It deserves witness, not quick advice. Presence often reaches places solutions cannot, especially when someone is tired of explaining pain. The 10th trait is wisdom. But we need to say this carefully, because suffering should never be romanticized or demanded. Pain does not automatically make people wiser, and nobody should have to suffer to grow, become kind, or earn depth. But with time, support, and meaning, some people turn survival into deep perception, noticing patterns others rush past. They learn which rooms are unsafe, which apologies are empty, and which peace is real enough to let the body rest. They can become gentle with others because they know what invisible battles cost, and they recognize pain before it becomes words. They can also become firm because they know kindness without boundaries becomes self-abandonment, and self-abandonment is not love. A healthy future is not about deleting the past. It is about updating the alarm system so the present can be measured fairly. It is teaching the body that not every raised voice is the old danger returning, and not every silence means abandonment. It is learning that trust can be slow without being impossible, and that careful love can still be real love. It is discovering that help can be accepted without losing dignity, control, or the hard-won self-respect that survival built. And it is remembering that rest is not laziness when your system has been running for years without a proper pause. If you recognize these traits in yourself, try not to turn them into another reason for shame or another private accusation. They were strategies. They helped you get through something that may have felt impossible when no better option was available. The question now is not, why am I like this, as if your adaptations were proof that something is wrong with you. If you love someone like this, consistency will usually matter more than intensity, because their body trusts patterns before promises. Do not force the locked room open. A gentle knock is safer than a dramatic rescue attempt. Ask how they are, then make the room safe enough for a small, honest answer, not a perfect confession. Respect their solitude without punishing it, because needing quiet is not the same as rejecting connection. When they set a boundary, try to hear protection rather than rejection, because boundaries are often the new shape of trust. When harm happens, repair matters. Apology, changed behavior, and patience can calm alarms that words alone cannot reach. Over time, these small, reliable moments become proof that the present is not required to repeat the past. That is why healing is not only private work. It also grows in relationships where a person no longer has to perform okay. The kinder question is, which protections still protect me, and which ones are ready to soften because life is different now? For someone who has gone through too much, Healing often begins with one tiny experience of safety that the body can believe. One honest conversation, one kept promise, one quiet morning where nothing needs to be solved, defended, predicted, or repaired. Small experiences become new evidence, and new evidence slowly rewrites what safety feels like from the inside out. That is the quiet miracle of recovery, not becoming untouched, but becoming more free inside the life that continues. The person who has survived too much is not broken glass. They are a mosaic still catching light from unexpected angles. They are a nervous system, a memory, a heart, and a future still learning how to breathe without bracing. And sometimes, the bravest thing they can do is let life become softer than the past trained them to expect.